This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 174. Can't find a dream job? Create your own. Part 1 by Babauta of Zen Habits.net.
Get ready to maximize your potential with Optimal Finance Daily, the podcast that brings you the best content in personal finance 5 days a week. Your optimal life awaits. Now here's your host, Dan Warren.
Hey everybody, welcome to Optimal Finance Daily as we move through another week here on the podcast. This is, of course, where I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs anywhere. And today's post comes to you from Babauta of Zen Habits.net. As I mentioned on Tuesday this week, we're covering some posts that relate to doing work that you love, sort of a startup or entrepreneurship slant on the show. And if you'd like to hear more on this topic, just let me and Justin know at oldpodcast.com. Get in touch, and your opinion will definitely be heard. If enough people do want to hear more about starting and running your own business, hey, we might just have to consider a fourth show in this little optimal family of ours. And with that, let's hear the first part of Leo's take on all of this and start optimizing your life. Can't find a dream job? Create your own. Part 1 by Babauta of Zen Habits.net. I was once unemployed, and I know the debilitating depression and the feelings of frustration and helplessness that can come with that. I've been stuck in a job I hate, and I felt imprisoned, trapped doing work that bored me while following orders of others and helping them achieve their goals. Those times were less than ideal. In fact, those were some of the worst periods in the story of my life. Luckily, I rose above those traps, but I have to admit it wasn't easy. The solution has been one of the most liberating, empowering, joyous things in my life. I wanted to share that little secret with those of you who are having a hard time finding a job or who feel trapped in a job you hate. Create your own dream job. Don't wait for someone to hand it to you. Don't hope that you'll win the lottery. Don't give up and consign yourself to a fate of misery and, worse, dullness. Create your job. Now, it might sound far-fetched for some of you, while others have already done it. But it's very possible. Not easy, mind you. It takes hard work and smarts and passion and a crap ton of learning and a willingness to take risks and make mistakes. If that sounds like you, read on. If not, stop reading. Your big idea. You might already know this, but if you haven't given it much thought, start to consider, what do you truly love doing? What are you passionate about? If you're lucky, you'll have multiple answers. If you have no answers, it's time to start finding things to be passionate about. If you have multiple answers, just choose one, or find ways to combine two of them. So if you love sewing and Star Wars, sew Star Wars costumes and put them on Etsy. Don't be paralyzed by this choice. If it turns out this isn't what you want, then you can always start another business later. You'll learn by doing and making mistakes, not by analyzing every possible outcome and factor. This passion will become your dream job. This is how I did it. I love writing, and I love taking steps to change my habits in my life. I started Zen Habits just for fun, and it turned into my dream job. How to find funding. You need a lot of money to get started, right? No. I explicitly reject the idea that you have to spend money to make money. Sure, that can work. Or it can lead to a mountain of debt and monthly expenses that greatly exceed your income and possible failure before you've had the chance to succeed. I started my business with nothing, $0. In fact, I had less than nothing. I was highly in debt and broke. I started with free online services, and there are plenty. I used Blogger.com and Google AdSense and Google Analytics, but those are just a few examples. I refused to even buy my own domain until I made more money from my business than the cost of that purchase. I refused to pay for my site design or to use a paid host until I was making much more money than those purchases required. My rule? Spend much less than you make. It works for personal finances, too. Now, actually, I didn't start with nothing. While I had no money, I did have some pretty big assets. My mind and talents and hard work and life experience. Those translated into a strong business, it turned out. How can you start your business with nothing? I won't create an exhaustive list, but here are some examples. Someone I know wanted to start a marketing business. She didn't need an office and staff and stationery. All she needed was her laptop. She had one. Her skills, she had the experience. Her contacts, she had a lot of them. And for people to know she was out there. And for that last bit, it just takes some, marketing skills. hit businesses up and offer her services. Network online and gain clients that way. If she has expenses for a job, she can charge those to the client. My sister wanted to start a ballet school. I suggested instead of building a studio and being hugely in debt, she start by going to private schools and offering to create an after-school ballet program at the schools. Parents would love it, the schools would benefit because parents want services like that, and she has practically no expenses. My other sister wanted to become a personal trainer. I encouraged her to start in her home with minimal equipment, or go to her clients' homes and businesses, or do outdoor boot camps. She did, and is amazing at it. Love to play video games? Start a site where you show people how to become elite players. Offer coaching. Start an online store where you sell stuff you make. Teach people how to do whatever you're good at. They'll pay you. Want to be a chef? Host dinner parties with gourmet cuisine and charge $50 a head. Sell tickets in advance and use some of that money to buy the food and some dishes. Again, these are just a few ideas. Sure, there are some businesses that require an initial investment, but I suggest you find ones that don't. Start free or cheap. Borrow space from friends if necessary, and get started. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Can't Find a Dream Job? Create Your Own by Leo Babauta of ZenHabits.net. And spending much less than you make, that is a great way to start a business, although it's tough to do in podcasting because you tend to not make anything in podcasting for most, if not all of the time. But we are working on it, and if you want to help support our 3 podcasts, we would greatly appreciate it. You can give your support financially or otherwise. Just come on by oldpodcast.com/support or visit oldpodcast.com and look for the How to Help page. And while you're there, let us know if you're enjoying these small business-related posts, and if you do, if you'd want it right here on this podcast, or if you think it needs its own. We'd love to hear from you. Again, come by oldpodcast.com to chime in. And that's going to wrap up today's episode. We will continue this post in the Friday show where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more, from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.